Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers analysis from Sunday's ugly loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. Today I want to talk about center Kendrick Green, why I don't think anybody along the Steelers offensive line has played well or anything resembling anything close to it. And I think there is context to talk about with Green, which we'll discuss at the end of today's video. I think Green really struggled and had his worst game of the three games he's played so far in the NFL on Sunday against the Bengals. A breakdown of his issues in the run game and pass game. Let's talk about what happened on Sunday. We'll start with Green in the run game. This comes in the first quarter, one of the Steelers' first plays of the game. And if you watch last week's video about the run game and why it was failing and how close it was to improving, they're going to run a similar concept here with a toss left of the boundary to Najee Harris, but they've changed up the scheme a little bit. And it unfortunately did not produce any better results overall. What happened last week against the Raiders was you had Kevin Dotson on a down block here or a reach block on this defensive tackle with Kendrick Green trying to work out in space to a strong safety. In the case of the Raiders game, was a really tough block for him to make. And so I think they try to tweak the scheme a little bit here, put these guys in better positions to succeed by having Green try to reach the D tackle instead of coming all the way out to the second level in open space, and have Kevin Dotson move to the second level instead. So that's the action here. Green responsible for blocking and cutting off this defensive tackle. He cannot on this play and gets called for holding, negates this good run here by Najee Harris. Although I think you could argue if the D tackle doesn't get held, there's still a decent chance that guy's going to impact the play and it won't get the yards that it gained on this one. So it's a tough block for Green for sure, trying to reach somebody that's kind of that far away. And so I think you need to give a little bit of grace and understanding of the situation. But Green's a good athlete. He's got to make this block. He cannot cut him off. He gets called for holding. And the Steelers offense, as they were so many times on Sunday, is backed up. One guy in particular Green struggled with throughout this game, and you'll see it in other clips later in this video, is number 65 right here, Larry Ogunjobi, who came over from the Browns this past year to the Bengals. He's always been a really strong interior run defender, to me, one of the more underrated guys. I remember him at the Senior Bowl out of Charlotte, had a really good week down there, and you really see Green struggle with him throughout the game, trying to execute this down block here on Ogunjobi. And just like the Raiders video we showed last week, there was a down block that he missed, and he misses it again here, and just a really kind of poor angle, poor punch. Does not really get a good block and doesn't get into Ogunjobi's pads. And he comes off the block and makes a tackle on Najee Harris there in the backfield. So, these I don't want to call it simple because nothing in the NFL is simple, but that's a down block with a good angle. He should be able to make on this play. It isn't the most difficult part of the play with leverage and the angle that he has, but it's just something with the hand placement or the leverage or the angle of departure off the line, and he's able to Ogunjobi able to shed the block, work over the top, comes free, and impacts his play. And again, everything else is kind of blocked up pretty well on this play. And so if it's just Green doing that one job there, you're going to get kick out blocks here from Turner, a good double team here on the other defensive tackle. There may be some room for Harris on this play, but it gets blown up immediately by Ogunjobi, and the play goes nowhere. One last look, and we'll check out the next play. This example is an RPO, a run pass option, and ultimately Ben throws the football, but I'm categorizing this here with the run plays because it's a run block here for Green. And again, he's working on Ogunjobi, who we saw in the last clip, and just loses the block basically instantly. And Ogunjobi's able to swim over and had been given the ball to Najee Harris on this play, probably gets blown up by Ogunjobi. And so you see Green just fall off contact immediately. And it's hard for me to exactly articulate what the issue is on this play. I don't know if it's with his steps or his punch or the angle, kind of not getting super square and kind of getting that head across there, not having a real good angle into Ogunjobi on this play. But it loses the block nonetheless, gets swimmed over immediately, goes to the ground. And again, had this been a handoff to Harris, just like the last play, this one would have been blown up by the defensive tackle. Ogunjobi's a good player for sure. I think he's crafty veteran, and so that's a tough matchup. But Green has to make these blocks, and he's failing all too often. Now let's look at Green and pass protection. And one of the issues and one of the complaints I had rewatching this Bengals game was how often they only sent three guys, dropped eight in the coverage, and still got pressure on Ben. I had Kendrick Green as the X factor in this game because I knew the Bengals were going to play him head up quite a bit. They were going to play with some big people up front and have, the nose tackle right over Kendrick Green, just like you see on this play. And how would Green handle some of that power? Something that even Marquise Pouncey struggled with throughout his career. And you're going to see Green just have a really soft shoulder and get pushed back and allow that pressure on a three-man rush on third down. And you just can't have that, three-man rush with pressure getting home immediately. I know it looks like they could be bringing more, and so you're not sure they're going to bring five. They're going to drop guys out, things like that. But let's look at this play here, and you just see Green open up his hips here. That soft inside shoulder. Skens gets his hands chopped down here by the defender on this play, and you never want to be in this position where your back is to the sideline. You want to be parallel and have your numbers shown, I should say, to your quarterback so he can reach your numbers. And at this point here, you're getting pressured. I believe that is Ogunjobi again. This is actually earlier in the game here, so you're seeing Ogunjobi make plays in the run and the pass game. And so on this play, a nice job by Ogunjobi to chop the hands down, get Green to open up his hips. You could potentially fault Kevin Dawson for not offering more help on this play. That could be valid, just depending on who's going to rush on this play. This guy drops out. So Dawson's eyes are to the D tackle there initially, so I understand that. But just isolating Green and focusing on his play here, even if he has help, you don't want to open up your hips like that. Have that really soft inside shoulder and open the gate and allow that interior A gap pressure, the worst pressure there can be for a quarterback that really doesn't allow him to do much. And this pass is ultimately incomplete. Different player here, number 98, DJ Reader, matched up on Kendrick Green, but the same issue as the last play we looked at. Soft inside shoulder here from Kendrick Green opens up his hips and allows interior A gap pressure on Ben and forces this ball out quicker, and his quarterback getting hit at the same time. So same issue as before. You see number 98 getting the pads and getting the chest of Kendrick Green. The hands go back for Green. He's no longer in control of the block. The defender is, who just gets him to open up his hips and turn. And just like before, you don't want your back to the sideline where those guys can read your number and your quarterback can't read the back of your jersey. And a bad position to be in. No chance for Green at that point in the play once his hips open up. And you just worry about some of the power and strength and bull rushes. That's going to be his big issue. You saw that on his Illinois tape. You saw that at training camp in the preseason, and you're seeing it in the NFL. Open up the gates, open up your hips. That's not how you're going to play winning football as an offensive lineman. A slightly more minor point, but an important one to me at least. Kendrick Green and pass pro, three-man slide to the left here, and you just see a guy who's on the ground. Now, I will give Green credit. I think overall he's been on the ground less often than he was at Illinois. Some of the balance issues and over aggression that he showed in college hasn't been as big of a problem in Pittsburgh, so I will give him some credit for that. But you definitely see it here, obviously, and it doesn't, impact the play. There's no pressure, and the pass is completed, and that's all well and good. But you need to be on your feet, obviously, as an offensive lineman. Be on your feet to compete as a center. And maybe he got tripped up. I can't tell for sure. I don't think he did, but even if he did kind of get caught, you have to know where your guys are around you. It's not like somebody stepped on his foot and got ran back, and it's nothing you could do about it. He knows where the guard's going to set, where he's going to set, and you just have to stay on your feet overall. So you never want to be on the ground unless you're Dan Moore chopping down with the trap on the defensive end. But Kendrick Green, now it's only four men blocking instead of five. And your center has to give help and work uncovered in these situations, and just got to stay on your feet overall. And so it's been again less of an issue overall. There's certainly bigger problems in this game, but I did notice it on that play, and you do want to recognize that you have to stay on your feet in pass pro. Finally, it's old friend Ogunjobi with one last win on Kendrick Green. Heavy pressure look here. Set as a kind of two-eye. Ogunjobi was in this play, so it is kind of a tougher block for Green to come over and try to get square and get in front of him on this play, but he cannot. And Ogunjobi, like so many times before, rips on through and gets the bend, and you see Green open up those hips. And that's tough for sure. It's not the easiest block in the world against a good player. I'm no O line expert to break down maybe exactly what the issues were, but I know Mike Munchak always preach, feet before hands. Your feet have to move before your hands do. And I think on this play here, we'll kind of walk through it. You don't really see Green get enough width on this play to get his body in front and his feet in front of him. He tries to punch a little bit early here. He's leaning a little bit. He's not square to that block like he could or should be. And because of that, Ogunjobi's able to rip on through. And again, you see those hips open up on this play. And Green at this point really has no chance unless he can try to ride him upfield. He cannot. And Ogunjobi gets a little bit of late pressure here. And, Ebron with a drop, which is just, Eric Ebron type things going on there. But to focus on this play here, Kendrick Green, just not able to get squared to this block. And if you're not squared to a block in the NFL, it's going to be awfully hard to win. So those are all the clips there on Kendrick Green. I think a really rough outing for him. Now some context here: he had a knee injury. I think he was playing hurt. I don't know when he got hurt. I saw him limping before he actually left the game with some sort of knee injury. Unfortunately for him, so could there have been some sort of ailment there that was plaguing him throughout this game? It's possible, but yeah, I think in the first half, at least some of these plays came really early in this game, so I don't think it excuses all of the issues in this one. And of course, he is a rookie. He's an underclassman who declared early, played primarily guard at Illinois, so he's learning and things like that. But he's got to call a spade a spade. He is the Steelers' starting center. He's got to play at a certain level, and he's not reaching that level right now. Now there are some, occasional, positive moments. He's an aggressive finisher. He's a good athlete overall. I don't want to say it's all doom and gloom with him. And again, he is far from the only guy struggling right now along this offensive line. If it was just him, that's a good problem to have for Pittsburgh. But they got a lot of problems right now with their O line, with their quarterback, et cetera, scheme issues that we could talk about for an hour or so. But I just thought overall, kind of really thought a tough game Green had against the Bengals, and it certainly has to get better. And you do worry about teams who are going to play nose tackles head up on him and really kind of force him to anchor and play with more power. That might be an issue for him, just kind of being overwhelmed at the point of attack. But there's technical problems as well. It's not just a physical issue, and he's a stout, kind of stocky, strong dude, but a lot to work on. Bottom line for Kendrick Green. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment in the comment section below, like and subscribe if you guys have not done so already. Appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you soon.